All right, Mr. Birdie, members of the board, we have one item for board discussion this evening, and Mr. Martin will be leading some discussion about board policies. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We wanted to get some policies, one policy, one exhibit, and one regulation in place for our virtual learning option. Like we said, there's a lot of unknowns right now, but we wanted some policy to try to guide our work. So we've started policy JECBF, which is entitled Admission of Students to the Virtual Learning Option. And the policy is very vague. It's very general in nature, which most policies are. It basically tells people that we will have capacity limits by grade level, and that there'll be a process for admission, and that the superintendent or designee shall establish the regulations, and then we've established a regulation as well. So that's the policy itself. There's also JECBF-E, that's the exhibit, and that simply tells people that where they can find the application for, if they're interested in their child attending a virtual learning option, where it will be, and when it would be on the district website. So that's simple as it'll be an electronic application form. Then the third one, and it's the larger of these, it's JECBF-R. And this one goes into a little bit more detail. It talks about the program capacity. We've alluded to that several times. And now that we are establishing a program, we will have the same class sizes that our teachers have in their contract. So if a kindergarten teacher, they can have up to 24 students in their class, this will be the same. A virtual classroom would have 24. So it shares the capacities. And we've added letter D, which tells you that if the classes are not at least 80% full, we don't feel like it would be a proper use of a teacher's salary if we can't get 80% of the classroom capacity in a class, that the class may not be offered. So it gives us some discretion there whether we want to go ahead and do that or not, and keeps us fiscally sound. The next section deals with student selection, and it gives the exact times that people can apply. From the first Monday, Mr. Crapo talked earlier, he gave us specific dates for this year, but the regulation is more general. It opens on the first Monday after spring break, and then it ends the first Friday of May. And so we have 4 priorities of students. It's students who are living within Fairfield and Fairfield Township. Their first priority, if they get their application in on time, that's where we will determine how many teachers we're going to commit to this, and what grade levels we can offer this in. After that, if the classes aren't full, then we can go to the next priority. The next priority students will be, once again, Fairfield City School District students who apply after the deadline. They will be considered next. Priority 3 would be open enrollment students who apply during their time, during the application process, before the deadline, and then priority 4 would be open enrollment students who apply after the deadline. So those would be the orders that we would accept students into the program. There are also some other things talking about the fact that, and it's already been shared with you in Mrs. Ogg's presentation, talking about status to stay in the program or be admitted in the program. If you've been involved in virtual learning, you have to have had satisfactory performance and attendance. It goes back on, you have to be on track for graduation and not be credit deficient if you're a high school student. And if you are a student with an IEP, you have to still be willing to meet your specified minutes of specially designed instruction. The third section goes through the application process. The fourth section just deals, once again, with what if there is a performance or an attendance issue or discipline issue, what can happen during the school year? And then the fifth area just reminds everybody, just like any of our open enrollment students, you have to apply each and every year. So you're not guaranteed more than 1 year. So that's put in there as well. So that's the regulation for the virtual learning option. Any questions or thoughts about these three? We would like to discuss it now, and because of the timeline, and we want parents to have this information when they open up for applications, we want to go ahead and vote on this a little later in the agenda tonight.
Any questions?
Well, I guess I'm just wondering, I mean, so this is really just committing us to the virtual program, right? I mean, it seems that way.
No, it's there if we do it, then we have things that would oversee it. It doesn't commit us to actually have even one class of it this next year. It's just, if we have a virtual learning program, these will be the guidelines that we follow and the regulations that we follow.
Okay, and I guess if a parent is interested in it, they wouldn't necessarily be able to say, well, you've got policies defining it already, then.
And hold us to that? No,
Right.
No. And matter of fact, it's in the regulation that if we don't have at least 80%, we don't think it's fiscally sound, any given grade or the whole program cannot be offered.
Okay, I think I missed that. All right, I see it. It's.
1D.
1D, okay, perfect, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments?
Looks like it was thought out very well, and written out well. Good job.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Mr. Begley, any questions? Yeah, I just have a sort of a related question, I guess I should have. What is our normal deadline for applications for open enrolled students for face-to-face instruction?
We followed the same, matter of fact, this policy was based on our intra-district
Okay.
and our open enrollment, so those are the same.
Great,
So-
okay,
Yes.
That's what I was wondering,
We've kept
right?
them consistent.
yes. I'm sorry I didn't have that
Nope,
question for you before.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions about this? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.